Though. Let's talk to Donnachadh McCarthy. He's director of the Climate Media Coalition and he supports the expansion of the Ulez scheme. Good morning to you, Donnachadh.
Good morning, Julia.
I tell you what, lovely to speak to you. I mean, you're a needle in a haystack trying to find someone who'll actually come out and support this scheme. Certainly, even most Labour politicians won't support the Labour Mayor Sadiq Khan on this. Why do you think it's right to expand this scheme?
Well, I think actually you talk about needle in a haystack, but all the opinion polls show Londoners, significant majority of Londoners support this. And in the Uxbridge by-election, the majority of voters voted for parties that are pro-Ulez. So I'm not a needle in a haystack. I'm actually representing the majority of Londoners who voted for a mayor to deliver clean air, and that was his promise. So I think today is a good day for democracy, and it's a really good day for London's asthmatics. 500,000 people in London suffer from asthma. 12 kids died terrible deaths from chronic acute asthma. I, as a child, suffered asthma. I know how horrifically terrifying asthma is.
It's a horrible affliction. We don't want any child to die of anything. It would be wonderful if they didn't, but actually those numbers have halved in the last 10 years, 10, 20 years, I believe. Here's the thing, Donnachadh. Okay, he said he would deliver.
The highest mortality rate for London and England has the highest mortality rate for children suffering from asthma.
Okay, I'm not going to get sidelined on this because time is against us.
Well,
but that's Donnachadh. This always Donnachadh. The reason we have high asthmatic rates is because so few children have their asthma inhalers, and that's an NHS issue rather than a pollution issue. Now, listen, okay, Donnachadh. The key thing is you're saying it's about delivering clean air. The air in London and indeed across the UK is cleaner than it's ever been. It's cleaner than long before the Industrial Revolution. It's been getting cleaner and cleaner long before even the first Ulez zone even existed.
Hang on, Julia. You put out facts, and I think it's fair for me to challenge them. The WHO has said that every single outer London borough in London suffers from illegal levels of pollution. That's a fact from the World Health Organization, and the mayor's tackling that as he promised in his election. So I think we need to accept the facts that actually but
the levels of pollution have gone down. They've changed the level of what is acceptable legally, and we want our air to be cleaner, but the air is getting cleaner anyway as we've had a clean-up of our vehicles generally. Why do we need to penalise the lowest earning people who've got older cars, which are probably not going to be on the road for much longer anyway? They're still roadworthy. They pass the MOT. Why are we penalising people on those low incomes who need their cars in outer London and the home counties by charging them £12.50 to drive to the local shop or drive their kid to school?
Well, actually, you talk about taking your kids to schools. Well, we want actually the kids to be on clean air on the way to school. And actually talking about the poorest in London, 80% of the poorest people in London do not have a car.
No, because they don't need one in central London.
And the Tory
people in outer London do.
70% of people in outer London, I think it's just under 70% of people in outer London of the poorest do not have a car. And what has the Tory government do? They've massively increased the prices that commuters pay for coming into London, and they've removed the free travel for pensioners AM, so that's making more difficult, more expensive for poorest Londoners to use public transport. In London, Julia, the poorest are paying the highest fares in the world for public transport. And if the Tories really cared about...
Hold on a minute, that's Sadiq Khan's in charge of that. The London Mayor, Sadiq Khan's in charge of those fares.
And post-Ulez, Sadiq Khan, pre-COVID, had a fare freeze that the Tory government opposed, and post-COVID, they insisted that the fares rise to cover the fall in fares due to COVID. And so the government insisted that Mayor raise...
Sadiq Khan ordered police to actually stand at tube stations, stop people getting on the tube. He actually tried to stop people actually using public transport in London during that period. And then we've seen, at the end of the day, we can't have the whole country subsidising people getting to and from work in London. People aren't subsidised to get to and from work in other cities.
So Julia, you can either say you're in favour of the poor in London trying to get to work, or the nurses getting to work, or you're not.
No, there's a difference.
I'm saying that we have the highest fares in the world, penalising the poor in London, unlike the poor in every other major city in the world.
Bus fares are actually incredibly cheap and much cheaper in London than they are in most other cities. Here's the thing.
It's the most expensive public transport in the world in London.
The tube is expensive. Buses, which are predominantly used by people on lower incomes, are actually much cheaper in London than in most other cities. That is a simple matter of fact. Again, I know you don't like those facts. But here's the thing. What about the claims that, like, we need to do this, we need to have the Ulez expansion because it will reduce air pollution and save lives? The Sadiq Khan, the London mayor, has repeatedly claimed that 4,000 deaths result from air pollution every year in the capital city. You know and I know that is simply a completely false statement, a complete and utter distortion of a report which suggested that people lose the equivalent time of their lives across the whole city. You're looking at people living for a few hours, days or weeks less than they would over their entire lives, over millions of people. Do you think that people should be allowed to spout lies like that to justify a policy like this, even if it's an eco policy which therefore you'll love?
Sorry, actually, you say that with derision, and I actually think loving a clean air for people.
We have got clean air.
My neighbour.
We have got clean air.
My neighbour next door lady is an elderly lady, and when there are high pollution days in London, she's unable to walk, and on days when there's lower pollution, she is able. So the pensioners pay a massive price for pollution in London, and I don't understand why you don't want cleaner air in London.
We do have cleaner air in London. The air is getting cleaner in London every single year and has been for the last century.
Yes,
particularly since the 1950s.
Over the last 10 years, the Mayor of London Sadiq Khan was elected on a platform to clean the air, and he's brought in cleaner buses. He's brought in he's expanded the Ulez.
I think the buses were brought in originally by Boris Johnson, weren't they?
And you have the Tory Mayor for Transport coming on after me, and I think you should ask him, why is he not funding the scrappage scheme in London like he's funding it in other cities outside London? So if he is concerned about the poor in London, do two things: reduce fares for Londoners and to a level comparable to other cities. And secondly,
they are already
the scrappage fee.
Okay, the transport. We are going to talk to the Transport Secretary. Hold on a minute.
Ask him if he'll fund the scrappage fee to the same level of other cities.
He won't fund anything. We taxpayers. Mark Harper's not going to go into his pocket and get a spare $2,000 out for everyone who needs to scrap their car. Well, he is doing it for other cities. Well, he shouldn't be. He shouldn't be doing that either.
Okay, well then let's have a fair level playing field.
£2,000 is not going to pay for a new car that is compliant with this measure. You're still looking at people who are on low incomes, facing higher energy bills, thanks to largely people like you of pushing this net zero insanity.
Well, thanks to all Londoners who actually voted for a mayor to clean up their delivering it.
You think that's the reason? You think that's the reason people voted for Sadiq Khan?
He promised us clean air. He's delivering it, and I think that's a victory for democracy, Julia.
All right, Sadiq. No, he's democratically elected mayor. Hey, Londoners get what they deserve if they're going to vote for him. I did first time round. I didn't like the policy. I didn't like the Tory candidates' policies, or indeed the campaign, which I thought was racist. So I voted for Sadiq Khan. But Donnachadh McCarthy will have to leave it there.